Hello, comic book readers. Thank you for joining us for episode 27 of the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. If you're joining us live right now, thank you for participating in this episode. If you are tuning in for the first time, we are a book club for people who like to read comics, where every week we take a different story arc or a collected volume that we all read along together, and then we gather every Wednesday via these live streams on YouTube and Facebook to share our views, thoughts, and opinions. And at the end, we will ask you for your review score. So if you have read along this week or you've read it previously, feel free to drop your scores in and we'll see what everybody thought of this. Also at the end, it will be your turn to choose what we read next week. So we're going to put everybody on a spinny wheel. If you've seen it before, you know what we do. We'll choose one at random, and you will also get a little something if we select your story arc, and you will have an invitation to come and join us next week if you want to, via video or audio or smoke signal, whatever you want to do. We'll make it work. You don't have to, but the offer's there. Right, just a reminder to let people know what we've been reading this week. We have been reading Spider-Woman from Marvel, published in 1993. And this was written by Dan Thomas and Roy Thomas, with some art by John Zopp, I want to say, and Steve Ellis. I think that's right.
Great.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
The Zopp. That's a weird name to say. Zopp. Yeah. Zopp. More anyway, like right. I am Dean, and I am joined by my co-hosts, as I am every week, and they are Spider Phil from Phil's Nerdyverse on YouTube.
Hey everyone, what about you?
We have Arachnid Kid from Dawn of Comics on YouTube.
Ahoy hoy.
And we have Spider Shelf from Scott Shelf on YouTube.
Shamai, everyone, how you doing?
Shamai. We haven't had a Shamai in a while, have we?
Thought I'd bring you back.
Bring you.
You did it with style, mate. Did it with style.
Thanks.
Before we get started, folks, I just want to say a big happy birthday to Adam over at Comic Bound on his channel as well. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday.
So happy birthday, Adam. All right, folks, are we ready then? Are we good to go? Shall we meet who's participating this week?
Yes.
Let's do it then. Let's dive in. We have Tom here from This Monday Movies. Good evening, Nerd Herders. Hope you are all well, says Tom. We got TB Collects. What's up, Nerd Herd? I'm scrolling on down to see who we're in. This thing jumps on me every week, you know. I'm sure it waits until I actually go, right, let's look at the comments before it just goes, hey, guys and dolls. Hope you all had a good Easter, says Amy. Hiya, Amy. Hope you are well. Liam's here as well. Hello to you. Hello. We have Adam and Caroline joining us, saying, hey, folks. Hello to you guys. Captain Comics, ahoy. Ahoy to you, Captain. We've got Shane. It's the return of your brother. He's starting to have a shift. It turns out there's no work, so that's nice.
Oh, good. He can watch this week.
There we go. We got Daryl here as well, saying hello. Hello to you, Daryl. Phil, we got your brother in as well. Evening to the herd of nerds. We got our man from Southern California. We got Sith Lordley here saying hi. Who else? I don't want to miss anyone. You know, I don't like to miss people. We've got Firehawk here as well. How are you, Firehawk? Hope you're good. We've got Beth. Hey, everyone. Hope you had a lovely bank holiday. And Dean had a lovely birthday. I did have a lovely birthday. Thank you very much. Anybody else? And we have John Block Comics joining us as well. Just sneaks in there at the bottom of the comics list.
I nearly had to bring it up again that you missed Beth.
No,
I was keeping an eye as well to make sure.
I thought he was going to do it on purpose. Yeah.
I am so paranoid of missing Beth off now. I double checked twice.
We've got some Welsh language in the comments. That's good.
You're gonna translate?
Yeah, so it's Shema, you know, hello, whatever, and then Sitoi T, which means how are you? Birthday. And then Pensloith Happis Adam is happy birthday, Adam.
Oh,
awesome. Thank you very much, off my shelves, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Right then, folks, we're going to get into it. I almost forgot what we had been reading then. Spider-Woman. That is what we are doing. That is what we are here to talk about. And we're going to need a synopsis, as we always do. And that is by the person that chose the book. And that is Shane.
Me. Okay, so Julia Carpenter is Spider-Woman, the second Spider-Woman. She finds out that her origin isn't as clean-cut as she thought it was, while an enemy from her past comes back and threatens her family. So she not only has to deal with the revelation of her actual origin, but also try to protect her mum, her dad, and her daughter at the same time. And that's pretty much the synopsis for this 4-part story.
There you go. I nailed it. Phil, do you want to start us off?
Okay. It's hard to know what to say. I mean, again, similar to the Ghost Rider book we read a few weeks ago, the artwork is that kind of 90s vibe, and I think it looks great. I do still feel, I don't want to say let down by the story, but I didn't really, it didn't click with me, I'll say that. I had a good time reading it, but it didn't click with me. It's like kind of easy forget about this and not read it and that's it type thing. I find parts of it was really wordy. Like the narration was just it was too much. Like every thought, every move she made was narrated to the extent it's like thinking, well, you're just writing words to fill a box. Like you're not really making any sense. But I mean, I like the art. I think actually really like the costume. Like for being a simple black and white costume, I think she looks great. And obviously the big hair she has as well. I don't know if it's blonde or if it's meant to be ginger or red, or whatever. But it looks fantastic.
Wait, let's clear this up right now before we go any further. She is ginger, isn't she?
I thought that.
I believe so, yeah.
I thought that too. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I mean,
it's strawberry blonde towards later ends of her career, but right in this book, she's a ginger.
Okay. All right. That's the important thing. Now we've cleared that up.
But I mean, I've never read too much or any Spider-Woman before, apart from Secret Wars, of course. But that was a different one, wasn't it? Yeah. Or was that Julia Carpenter?
No, that was her.
I thought it was a different version of Spider-Woman, but then it does mention Secret Wars in the book, so that's why I was really confused. So yeah, so everything I've read of her, of Julia Carpenter, has been Secret Wars on this. It's just, you know,
it's not boded well.
It's not a good start, no.
Oh, we got confirmation. Liam is spot on here as well. She gets called Red at one point. She does.
Oh,
you are right, Liam. Yes, she does.
Calls her Red, doesn't it?
Yep. He does. I kind of see where you're coming from, Phil. It definitely had that 90s vibe about it and stuff. However, I got more vibes from this, like 90s nostalgia vibes, than I did from Ghost Rider. Not so much to do with the artwork, but the story. This felt like, I think because it was a bit more coherent than Ghost Rider, it felt a little bit more 90s to me. Does that make sense? The plot.
Yeah.
It felt simple.
Yeah, the plot was overly simple for the amount of words in the book. Like there were more words than what, like Phil said, they were needed for this type of story. It's just a revenge story, you know. With an extra origin thrown in just a few months after her origin was already told. So
I think let's get into that a bit further down the line. Let's stay with the art first, because we've got our pages and stuff as well. Do we want to go straight to the pages, or does anybody have anything they want to refer to with the art before we go to that?
With the art, I like the way the bodies are drawn. Very, as much as it's comic bodies, they're still very normal bodies. Like she isn't overly curvy, overly busty. You know, for the time, sorry.
Yeah, like just really athletic looking. You just, you just picture in the 90s, like going to the gym wearing those kind of leotards or the funky hair tied up and stuff. That kind of way.
Well, her costume does get mistaken for a leotard, doesn't it? When her dad sees it at the airport. I
think for me as well. I think I really like the character designs in this. Like, sometimes villains I struggle with, particularly these ones as well, because they aren't massively well-known villains, are they? I mean, let's be like real honest. Had anyone heard of these before?
Door Spider?
The villains are the worst. Yeah.
But I did like the way that they were drawn though. I liked their costumes and stuff. I thought, you know, they were kind of varied enough that they felt like a team, but they weren't just kind of copies of each other. So I kind of like that. And I did like, I know you're a big faces guy, Shane, and I thought the faces were really good in this. Like, I thought the art in this was better than the kind of Ghost Rider we read, and both of these books were around about that same time.
Yeah.
And I like the Andy Kubert stuff. So, but the other stuff in that, like this, completely outshines any of that stuff that we read, in my opinion.
The more that I'm reading 90s stuff from doing the Nerd Herd, the more I'm appreciating the art more. I'm definitely enjoying it more now. Like since from when I started, there was all just modern stuff and like clean lines and all this and all that. But now like I'm getting more used to reading 90s and I'm just enjoying it. It's just nice. It's just a different style. It does look clean in a different way.
I find 90s stuff, it's like they were taking more chances. They're trying to be more edgy almost with their art, weren't they? Like they're pushing more boundaries. Like they're stuck with the same kind of art for so long. Then the 90s kind of came along and kind of pushed it further. Now we've got what we've got today because of that.
I mean,
I think there was more shock value there, but I suppose the 90s was the time of like Jerry Springer and stuff like that though as well, wasn't it?
They were just coming out of the comic code, wasn't they? So they were allowed to do more. Once they dropped the comic code stamp, they were then allowed to do a bit more. I mean, I don't think you wouldn't have been able to get away with this 10 years before the amount of costume she loses throughout the story.
I didn't think it was that bad, because when I saw like the cover up here and stuff, you can see her losing a bit of costume. You do get a bit, but there's never anything crude about it. I didn't feel anyway.
There's no side boob.
No, well, I mean, the first time when she gets into costume...
So disappointing.
When her parents are at her house at the end of issue 1, when she first puts her costume back on and she's doing it up, the whole front is open. So you do see, like, from neck to navel before she...
Okay.
Saucy.
Yeah.
I must have missed that page.
I didn't.
Right, should we move on to the pages then? And show people, give them an example of the artwork and see which pages we chose as our favourite. Phil, do you want to start with yours, mate?
To be honest, even though I enjoyed the art throughout, there was nothing that was really stand out for me, really. So this page was the only one really I kind of thought was slightly different to everything else, and it's mainly to do with the last two kind of panels, the way she's under this kind of swampy water, and they've made it this kind of dark green and stuff, and like I like the idea of the guys in the boat with their Uzis and so on. It just this is probably the best page for me out of them all, but there was nothing overly stand out. And for me, this also typifies 90s art for me. It's colourful at times. It's also the backgrounds can be quite bland as well. But yeah, I just really like the last panel where she's using her kind of psychic webs to like make like a funnel so she can breathe. It's all just a bit strange, but that was probably the best for me that stood out.
Very clever.
Yeah, I think we're all in a little bit of an agreement there, aren't we? That there was no huge, like with Ghost Rider, even though some of the art was bland stuff, there were some kind of standout moments in that, and there kind of wasn't in this art-wise.
No.
Shane, do you want to move on to yours, mate? You chose this one.
Yeah, I really like the battle damage that she was taking. Not because she was getting beat up, but I like the idea of her actually looking like she's been in a fight. But I like this page because she's not concerned about herself. She just wants to make sure her parents are okay. And she's just had this massive battle. She's about to pass out. She doesn't know if she's going to survive or not. And all she cares about is her mum, her dad, and her daughter. And I just thought it was really nice.
Yeah, that is quite a standout one.
Look at the colours on her suit at the bottom. It's just...
Yeah. I will say, I think this suit is really well designed, to be honest. I know that came around in Secret Wars, didn't it? Obviously with her appearance there, but I do like the way it's drawn in this. Like Phil said, you get a sense of kind of athleticism from it and stuff, don't you? You know. Before
I really like the mask as well. I like the way her hair's showing and it's just on her face. It's more like a cow with.
Yeah.
Really like that.
Yeah. Before we go any further, I think we have a comment here from TB, and I think he's referring to the when we're saying about the disappearing suit. TB says, to be fair, that's nothing compared to today's Dynamite issues.
Definitely.
We are the 5th member of the Nerd Herd, everybody. Okay, Scott, how about you, mate? Do you want to talk people through your favourite page?
Yeah. I really loved the action in this page, and in that final panel on the bottom right there, I could. It was one of those things. I just, as soon as I saw it, I felt the weight of her, like, you know, trying to break apart from is it her own psychic web that she's wrapped in there or something? Yeah.
No, that's the other girl's
yes.
web. She's made a physical web as well.
I just loved it. Through this whole page for me, I just felt the whole struggle, and I could really, I just liked it a lot. You know, there's a lot going on, but it's not too crowded, and you can just really see and feel what's going on.
See, you say that's not crowded. I think this was a real busy comic I found for artwork, and not in a bad way. Because usually, you know, we say, don't we, like, oh, there was just too much crammed into this. This is a really busy looking book, but I don't think it's in a bad way for me. I actually thought it worked quite well here.
Yeah.
I thought the fight scenes were all pretty good.
Yeah, it's done in panels as opposed to like the big splash pages where you have to decide which route to take on the page. It's done in panels, so no matter how many fights she's in, how many people she's fighting, you can follow the pages quite easily.
It's also not very often you get like arrows pointing to where you have to read. You got that a few times.
Yeah, there was a few arrows going over here, folks. You know. Yeah, I found that quite useful, though, to be honest.
Yes, I did. Yeah. They could use that in some books today, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Okay, the panel I chose, again, I think, like Phil said, there was not many standout big splash pages or anything like that, but this, to me, just kind of screamed 90s. You know, you had the whole, you know, explosion there, you know, punching the floor, and the teeth in that last panel, like that is just a typical 90s kind of grimace for me. Like, and I just kind of like that. You know,
it doesn't look natural. Like that that face she's pulling at the end.
But I don't think many things did in the 90s. I think that is a trope of like 90s art. Like, I don't think anything was natural.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like that one. But I thought that was a great page, to be honest. Like her face and, you know, the action at that point.
I have a problem with this part in the story, not so much that image, but she was injected with this new venom from this spider, whatever. It was only her super duper strong. They didn't know what it was going to do. To be fair, this is the only part where that kind of emphasized like how strong she was, when she was able to kind of dismantle her shackles as such. But she didn't use them. Like, didn't use that strength anywhere else. You know, just that was disappointed in my end, because it's like, well, I thought it was going to enhance her powers more to the point where she'd kick everyone's ass, but she didn't.
Yeah, I have a question about that part of the story as well, but I'll ask it later. Let's just check the comments before we kind of we move on. Off my shelves is saying off topic, but the more 90s art I see, the more I realise how special and ahead of the game Hellboy Seed of Destruction was for 1994. I would agree with you completely there as well. Totally, and I think TB does as well. Completely agree. Off my shelves, the more I read, the more I love Magnola's style. Totally. And we have Jason Parker in here as well. Howdy, Jason. Hope you're well, my friend.
I have ever read Hellboy, ever.
What? Come on.
What do you think of it?
Oh, it's great. Like, Magnola's style is absolutely fantastic. Definitely up there in my favourite artists for me personally. So the writing then, folks. I'm gonna kind of start this one off. Like, I found this a very basic plot. I think, as Shane has already said here, nothing really stood out of this for me. But the biggest shame, it's not that I didn't like the plot, but the biggest shame for me is, like, this is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Shane, but this was her first solo run, like Linda Carter as Spider-Woman. I wanted more personality. What did I call her?
Linda Carter. That's Wonder Woman.
That's making the Instagram reel right there.
There we go. We've got our soundbite for tomorrow. But I wanted more personality from her in this, seeing as it was her first solo run. Like, I wanted more. I wanted her to shine through a little bit more, and she felt a bit generic to me.
Yeah, she was more Mama Bear than anything else, wasn't she? It was all
very family orientated.
Yeah.
That's what I found with the first issue. It was just more like a family drama, as opposed to, I know she fought the Theric, whatever it's called, at the end, but like, it was all very much the parents and the ex-husband, Larry was his name, wasn't it? Larry.
Yeah. We didn't see Larry in this though, did we?
No. But
Oh, okay.
I don't think so, did we?
No,
But,
I don't think we did.
They give her enough almost personal trauma or drama to kind of have more oomph in her character. But you're right, they didn't really use it, did they? They didn't really kind of nothing shone through.
Don't get me wrong, for those that haven't read along, you do get her origin story in this as well, which I did like the origin story.
Oh yeah.
And I like the way that was tied in with the villains. It was tied in with Avengers West Coast and all that. So I liked that. But I just wanted her to have a bit more personality. I kind of felt bad for her that I'm like, this is her first kind of solo outing as a character. And she just, like Phil said, there was stuff there. There was personal trauma, but it wasn't used to kind of push any of her personality traits. All we got from it is that she was kind of protective over her daughter and her parents. That was it, as far as I could see.
Her parents were a gag though, because like they were like, "Come to the rainforest, you would love it. You get to sleep on the floor." Like they lived with their heads in the clouds. It's just ridiculous. Like these two hippies, but they were funny at the same time. But again, I found them like really like. If you remember in the first issue where she kind of threw the dad the side of the room, and they all thought he was dead, and then he wasn't dead, and then the mum was annoyed, and then all of a sudden, click, oh, that's good, go away, bye-bye, go fight the day. Like there was no real kind of like,
mad, like, oh my god, you've killed your dad. No, I'm okay. All right, okay, let's move on.
But still,
sorry, Shane, go on, mate.
The mum was more worried, more concerned with why she was so strong. She was like, oh well, she came in carrying the doctor, and now she just thrown you across the room. It's
that's like, the point. Once you found out that she was this kind of superhuman, like that, it just seemed like accept it straight away. Like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, I wish I'd have done a montage of her dad, because I found at points her dad was like really almost like not bothered like what was going on around him. Like when she's that panel, let me just find that again, like that picture that I think is the one that you chose, Shane. Look, like she's collapsed on the floor and her daughter comes running over. And like the dad's just in the background holding them. I'm like not concerned that she's like on the floor. Like,
no,
and there were other instances of that in the book where he was just kind of like, okay, we've got to go now. Bye, you safe today. See ya.
Yeah, that's so strange.
Yeah, because when she tells them to run, the mum doesn't want to leave her, and he's like, well, no, if we go now, we're less targeted.
He did not take a lot of convincing, man. He was like, yep, we're off, man. See you later.
Yeah, she's got the mask. She can deal with it.
Yeah. So did we enjoy the writing of this? Again, I know there's not a lot we can talk about regarding like technique and stuff like that with writing. As like, say, if we compare this to kind of like some of the other books that we read, I found that this was a pretty linear story, and there wasn't a lot of technique used. No offense to the writers on this, but there wasn't a lot of. Sorry, go on.
I'm happy that it was 4 issues long, but not in a way that like, oh, it dragged or it would have been too much. Like 4 issues was spot on. I'm happy that it was 4 issues, but it was very dialogue heavy. And like Phil said earlier, like they were just writing down what she was thinking and what she was going to do next. And and well, in terms of the writing as well, I found, I don't know if you guys noticed as well, but there was a lot of times where she would just stop. Like she wouldn't say the last word of the sentence, like, you know, like, oh, I wonder if this is, and then it would stop, and then it would move on, and like, oh, I wonder. Like,
hey, wait, I do that, man.
To be fair, I noticed that too, because I was getting confused reading on. Like, did I miss a word? Like, I had to like read it back to find out that that was intentional. It's like I never understood why it was intentional.
But it happened so many times. It just felt like something was always interrupting her last word. Yeah.
In terms of the dialogue, I think we've all said like the best issue was issue 2. That was the origin story. I really liked the way, is it Valerie? I forget her name, Val something, and her were kind of discussing the origin. I loved that kind of like the way they were to and fro in their kind of conversation. That was the best of the dialogue. But then
I wanted more of Val, to be honest. After issue 2, I was hoping she'd come back, but I don't think she did she?
That would have been more interesting, finding out that this wasn't an accident and her friend had actually done this to her. You know, that's what the story could have been. It didn't need to be about her parents and her daughter. It could have been about her dealing with this so-called friend who actually used her as a guinea pig, and she could have died at any time during that trial.
And
Yeah.
the thing is, as well, they included that guy. What's his name? Clemson, whoever that is.
Yeah.
Like, he was just really irrelevant almost to the story. Like, Fowl could have taken his place, and it would have meant more because she's part of her origin, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
Clemson has some sort of history with her, but I think you find that more in other books. But for this story, I thought Fowl could have been the one to come at the end with the feds or whatever, and that would have meant more, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit odd. I know we got a glimpse of him, didn't we, at the end of issue 2? He's sitting there kind of watching the surveillance tapes, isn't he?
Creep.
And then we don't see anything from him, and it's almost like he just completely comes out of nowhere at the end, and all of a sudden he's got something to do with it. So I kind of wish that was different. I could have lived without him, I'll be honest with you.
I wasn't happy when he came in being like, "I've hated you since before you were born. I loved your mother."
That's another thing. They've kind of added this kind of information about her kind of parents and stuff, but like they didn't use it for anything. It didn't really mean anything. It didn't. So I was expecting him to be her dad or something whenever she mentioned that, and then that didn't happen. It's just like you're giving all these kind of like hints of something, but then there's nothing.
And then
I got that vibes. Yeah, I got the vibes that he was going to turn around and go, "I am your real dad," like, or something like that, and it didn't.
But then
happen.
he just disappeared at the end. He was just gone.
He chickened out, didn't he? Ran away.
But I think that went to show like how pointless it was. I mean, I know this spills over, doesn't it? This does carry on at the end of issue 4. I forget what it was now that it says it moves on to, but it does say there's a little box and it says,
I think it's West Coast Avengers or something, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't West Coast Avengers. I can't remember what it was. I'll double check. But it does carry on. So whether he plays a line down the road or whether it is in West Coast Avengers, that's where he comes from, because that's where that backstory, I suppose, lies. Who knows? But in this, he was kind of pointless. Just to check the comments here, Jason saying he's been watching the Spider-Woman cartoon on Disney Plus. It ain't great.
Bite your tongue. That's a great cartoon. I grew up on that cartoon.
And Shane, your brother at Tottenham Gaming, he's saying the only cartoons on Disney Plus that matter are X-Men and Spider-Man 1994.
Bang on, obviously.
100%.
Phil, you was going to say something there, buddy, before we went.
Yeah, I've got the Marvel Unlimited up here. So the Spider-Woman heat continues and Force Works #1.
There we go.
That was right. Yes.
There we go.
But
so this obviously runs into that. So if anyone knows whether Clemson shows up again, let us know in the comments.
I found it amazing too. After reading this, so the 4th issue on Marvel Unlimited, what it does, it then jumps to the next one in like the series, the main series, whatever, and it just jumped from this one to like the one that came out like last year. So has there been no Spider-Woman book for what's that, 27 years, whatever it is? Is that right?
No, there's been about 5 to 6 volumes since then.
Yeah,
with all different characters, because Jessica comes back, and there's another Spider-Woman and another. Yeah, there are loads of Spider-Women.
Oh, okay.
Which I kind of don't. I'll be honest, like I don't like that. I don't like it when they do that with a character. I know I'm maybe because I'm old school, but I'm just kind of like, that character is that character. Stop messing with it. Like, have a new character. Like, that person could be somebody else. Like, don't mess with it. Anyone else like that? Or that just me?
Yeah, I agree.
I think I do not agree. I think it's nice to see how another character takes on, the mantle of this symbol.
He's a fan of the Flash, and there's been like 20 of them, hasn't there?
True.
There's only one cyborg. But see,
actually,
here we go.
The thing is about this book too, if you're going to have a pure kind of story, I think something needs to shine. And 9 times out of 10, the villains usually shine. But I thought they were ridiculously weak. Even their names, like the Manipulator, it sounds like a hair removal tool. It's just really stupid. And then they weren't what was his powers? I didn't understand.
He could manipulate people. No, he did. I don't think he had any powers.
That's what I mean. It's just, and even the guys, I can't remember their name. The 2 scientists who got turned, they're scientists. They're meant to be clever, but they just seem really stupid. Like Bebop and Rocksteady, stupid, like really thick. I thought you're meant to be these scientists, really, but be a bit clever when they kind of trying to combat this Spider-Woman person. It's just strange.
And their power made no sense. I could understand if they each got one of Julia's powers. You know, maybe one of them got the wall crawling, one of them got the strength, one of them got the web, but one of them then can teleport because apparently door spiders come out of nowhere, like
Trapdoor spiders.
Trapdoor spiders, right? They can't actually teleport. So why do you have the power to actually teleport? Just because you think spiders appear.
We got a few comments on the character switching out shenanigans. We got Off My Shelf saying I don't agree as well. Dick Grayson as Batman and Miles Morales are all I'll say. Good point, man. Good point. And Caroline is saying Doctor Who comes to mind in terms of multiple people playing the same character, but I feel that works because it's more the same in one sense.
Yeah, that's the same character though. It's like this is the equivalent of Batgirl. Like you've had Stephanie Brown, Cassandra Cain, Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
You know, so you've had multiple people take on the mantle, and sometimes.
Okay, I'll stand corrected. Then I think then it works in some cases and it doesn't work in others, which is strange.
It depends on how big that name is and who you give the mantle to. Like Dick Grayson works fine as Batman because he's Dick Grayson. If you were to give it to Tom Smith, who lives just down the lane from Bruce Wayne, it wouldn't work.
Hey, Tom Smith might be pretty cool.
See, just on that, there has been times when Dick Grayson as Batman has been done really poorly. Like you think of Black Mirror, for example, where it's a very good story with him as Batman, but there's been other times Dick Grayson as Batman's pretty poor.
I haven't read that, so I can't judge. But the Batman Robin run with Dick Grayson and Damian is one of
that is one. That is one for another day, then, folks. I have a question. Seeing as we brought up villains, the story of this is kind of they kind of sell their souls a little bit for a bit of power, don't they? That's the kind of gist of
and
those
also
villains.
They're held hostage though as well because he has the antidote.
Yeah,
so
that's after the initial decision though is they kind of trade it for the power, don't they? Because you see when they're getting level, I think the woman, I forget her name, but she's kind of like, well, you know, we've been given this power. So my question is to everyone watching along now as well, I was like, would you do the same? Would you kind of, somebody said you can have all of this power, but then you're going to be able to be like indebted to somebody like a manipulator. Would you do it?
Oh, I want free power.
That wasn't an option, Scott.
That's not an option.
my answer is no, because I want free power.
As long as I knew I wasn't going to turn into the big spider guy. Maybe.
I liked him. He was my favorite.
All right, so it's a no from Scott. It's a maybe from Shane. Phil, how about yourself, mate?
I do like power at all costs. So as long as if someone's up above me, as long as I'm above a lot of other people, I'm okay with that.
All right, let's find everyone in the chat. Come on, be honest. Drop it in there. Let's see who the heroes and the villains are in here today.
Can I ask a question about Julia Carpenter? And it's something I found really odd, and that is her psychic webs. Like, how is this a thing? I don't understand it. Like, so she just thinks of them, and then they appear behind the villains. Like, surely it needs to come from something. It just, it's just really strange.
I think it's more like a telekinetic web, isn't it?
I just accepted it. I was just like, all right, this is what it is, and that's fine. Let's go with it.
I think it's hard to, but like,
blast. Like Psylocke has and Jean Grey, they have their psionic blasts. So maybe it's more of a blast, but also web because spider venom gives you random powers.
The other thing about
very random
about her is that she seems very weak. Like she's meant to be a West Coast Avenger or Avenger West Coast, but she's still an Avenger. I'm sure she comes up against bigger, badder enemies than these four Clampets, but yet she just seemed to always kind of like get hurt and was weak and knocked out for a couple of days, and she never really seemed to have this kind of power that can defeat them. Even in the end, she didn't defeat them in the end.
She was definitely more powerful in Secret Wars. I mean, at one point, she even stops the Hulk with her psychic web, didn't she? So, so to have these guys be able to break through it.
Maybe they're just playing her low key, so then in a future issue where she can be like mental strong and it'll have more of an impact with the readers.
I wasn't a fan of the psychic web stuff. I'll be honest with you. Like, I just thought it was a bit of a naff cop out power for me. And I tried to kind of go, right, it's the 90s. You know, you've got these kind of psychic pink webs. You know, I trying to get into it, but I was just kind of like, no, I wasn't really buying it for me.
Even when she was in training.
Yeah, the joke when she's like, I know where spiders' webs come from, so I'm not doing that.
But that's the thing. If she had to just like be able to shoot webs from her wrist or something like Peter Parker, like that would be okay.
Spider-Man. Yeah, but it's 2 Spider-Man, isn't it? I mean, Jessica Drew could shoot them from her finger, so they had to sort of make her a little bit different.
Yeah, and I guess that does kind of go with the 90s, the psychic kind of pink, shocking pink psychic webs. I suppose it does fit, but no, not for me.
Oh, I like that. I like that power.
You want your superpowers to be at least plausible in the real world.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Like running really fast.
Yeah. To the point where you can change time.
Yeah, that's all science. But this is just someone's just thinking webs out of the.
We have Tom here agreeing with us. Worst part of the side web, W2F. There you go. I think a lot of people were a bit by that.
Yeah, it was.
Like she was good. She was good in her fight scenes. Whenever she was able to emphasize her strength and stuff. Like I loved the part as well. Whenever I can't remember what issue it was, where the teleporter guy, whatever his name was, trapdoor spider. Yeah. So he would punch of his right and then disappear, and then punch of his left. She was able to time it. Right, he's going to appear here this second, and then was able to land one on him. Like I quite like that. It was just quite clever. And again, the fight scenes were good, but the side webs were just.
Well, comics review, I think, is kind of onto something here. He's like, the X-Files was big, so everything had to be paranormal. I kind of agree with you.
Yeah, that's true.
I think maybe if she had used them a bit better, if they were shown in a more positive light, then maybe wouldn't hate them as much. Because, I mean, every time she uses them, they seem a bit naff in this.
Yeah, the thing that turned me off was straight away, was it in issue 1, when she fights, is it Therak on that boat? And she's just like, if I can get this behind him, and then I was just like, come on, I'm not buying this.
Therak.
Is it
Theo?
Therak.
Because I just read
Theo the janitor. Yeah,
I just read it as the rack because, like, as in like an arachnid, like the rack.
That's a good shout. Yeah.
Okay.
The rack.
The rack.
His name was Theo though as well, isn't it? So maybe they put Theo and Rachnid together to get the rack.
That's what I thought. Theo, and
yeah. Trying to know what you thought his name was pronounced as.
Did anybody have a favourite villain? Was there anybody they did like in the villains?
I know
that
Val
Rack Johnson. Yeah,
Val for me. Yeah, easily Val. Shane.
I liked the rack because he was always there.
Tell you, the rack could make a good Marvel's Legends figure, I think.
Yeah,
I
build a figure.
So.
Yeah.
But no, I thought the villains in this were kind of like, you kind of got Suicide Squad, which is kind of the scraping of the barrel of characters to a certain point. This was beyond that for villains for me. Like this was really bad.
They were really poor.
Since you mentioned Suicide Squad, that's kind of what Julia was created for. They were creating their own team of superheroes that they controlled and owned. So it was very much like a Suicide Squad.
What were they called again? They mentioned that in the book, didn't they? They mentioned it in the book. I can't remember what they were called.
There's 2 of them though, isn't there? There was the kind of the ones that Val worked for, and then the one that Clemson went to work for. It was 2 organizations, weren't there?
Because you see Julia's first team, and you had Avalanche and Heatwave. No, what was his name?
I can't remember, is he?
But yeah, he had a load of the old mutants there on our team.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I thought the villains could have been way better in this. And let's be honest, like with comic books, especially older ones, given like Bronze Age, Silver Age, anytime around there, and going into that kind of early modern. The hero is only as good as the fight that they have with the villain, because the way those books were written, you know what I mean? Like, and that kind of let it down for me. The villain Val, who was like a shadowy character, was better than the kind of main villains, in my opinion.
you think maybe they knew, and that's why they wrote in 4 villains instead of 1, because they knew they weren't really strong enough to stand up on their own.
Maybe they're like, chuck more villains at this. Yeah.
If this is like her first ever, single, her first ever run, why have they brought back old enemies? Why don't they just think of something new? Why have they just they're just rehashing stuff?
It says in the cover, I think maybe it was the selling point of because that happened in West Coast Avengers. It's like it says on the front, doesn't it? Rematch with Deathweb. So maybe at the time that was the selling point, and this is like ding ding round 2 between her and Deathweb.
Even Deathweb, that's a terrible name for a gang of crooks. Fucking Deathweb, like that's ridiculous.
It just sounds like one guy.
But this is the 90s we're talking about, man. Come on. I mean,
I think
it fits. I think.
But creativity, like ways, like it could have been a bit more extravagant, a bit more adventurous or something like Deathweb. But just fuck off.
Tom from This Monday Movies is saying, I didn't really enjoy this. I was so happy I only had to waste 4 issues of my time. Artwork, nah. Story, hell, nah.
But with the amount of dialogue, it felt like 8 issues.
And Liam follows on with, kind of agree with you, Tom. I enjoyed the art, but everything was a bit meh. All right, looks like we're the comments are leading us there naturally. So let's get to those final thoughts and scores.
Glasses on.
Yeah, sorry, glasses on. Thanks for reminding me. Let's go this way round.
All right, I'll keep it short and sweet. The story was okay. It was nice for me to learn about Spider-Woman. The origin was cool. It's probably my favorite issue, and I also enjoyed everything to do with the Rack. But the villains as a team as a whole, they were a bit flat, and like I said a couple minutes ago, I didn't like the fact that they rehashed old enemies. It might have been a selling point, but it would have been cool to have something new and original to grip people in. I don't know.
Well, it was new and original to you.
Art was great. It was really cool. I loved everyone else's picks for the pages. They were all really nice. There were some really cool standout moments in the book, and in general, it was nice. So overall, I'm thinking 5.5.
No.
5.5 for Scott. That's just above the middle mark there. Of course, guys, you know how this works. If you've read along this week or you've read this before, drop your final thought and score in the chat there as well, and I'll grab them and we'll take an average and see what we all thought as well. So, Shane, over to you, mate.
I think I was remembering this wrong. I remember this fondly because it was the first Marvel comic I bought, and I didn't have many comics back then to compare it to, so this was great back then. Rereading it, I didn't have a good time. The story was blah. There was too many words for too little story. I really enjoyed the art though, because I love 90s art, but overall we've said everything there is to say about it, so I'm just going to score it, and I'm going to rip the band-aid off, and I'm going to give it a 4.
Ooh, I thought mine
was man, a 4. I thought you were going low, Scott. And Shane, you picked this.
I know. From memory, that's the problem. I should have read it and then suggested it.
What would you have given it by your memory?
Wait a second, we got to go around to Phil. Let's get round first. Phil, over to you, mate.
Just, I mean, strange powers she had. Enemies were weak. Art was great, but I wish we'd have seen more Foul. I wish we'd have seen more of what Julia can do herself. The addition of the villains were poor, like they were really poor, and the addition of Clemson or whatever his name was just stupid. But with all that said, from reading it from start to finish, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the story. Obviously, that had flaws, but it wasn't like I regretted reading it or I didn't want to read on. I wanted to finish the story. It was fine. But it's not something I'm ever going to recommend. I don't think there's 1,000,001 stories ahead of it. I'm never going to read it again, but I'm still glad I've read it. So I'm also going to give it a 5.5 because I had a good time reading it, but it had so many flaws. I couldn't score it higher.
It's a 5.5 from the money. Okay, so far we got one score in there from Tom right now. So if anybody else has got one, better drop it in there. Otherwise, Tom's going to be the average. All right, I'll wrap mine up. I kind of like this. I'll be honest with you. I mean, this is of my era, though, so I don't know how biased I am. I've tried to ask myself that question after. But I like this. I got the 90s vibes. I felt like this is what a 90s comic book should be. When we read Ghost Rider, it was a bit wonky. It had the 90s elements, and yes, Cuba art was great, but that wonkiness really kind of disengaged me. This actually felt like a solid 1990s comic book, you know. So, I mean, yeah, did it have bad villains? Yes, they were awful. They were dreadful, those villains. And do I give a crap what happens to them? No, I don't know. Did Julia have any personality? No, she didn't. No. But I can't go too low with this because I did enjoy it, like Phil said. I did enjoy reading it. And at the end, I did feel kind of satisfied after reading it. I was like, that was pretty all right. So for me, it's a 6.5.
Oh,
nice.
So I have gone higher than all of you, which is weird. That's unusual. Okay, we got a score in from Liam as well. He says, it's a 4 from me too. I did enjoy the art, but it wasn't anything special. Okay, so we have, let's do it then. Let's give it the rundown of what everybody thought. If there's any scores come in, do it now. No, right. So obviously, everybody watching along, we had 2 scores, and it's a 4 for everybody watching. For us here ourselves, we had a 5.5 from Phil, a 4 from Shane, a 5.5 from Scott, a 6.5 from me. That's an average of 5.4 overall. So let's have a look on the leaderboard, see where that falls on the Nerd Herd leaderboard. 5.4 puts this in 18th place.
Below Secret Wars.
Yep. Below Secret Wars and just above Rise of the Midnight Suns.
Oh my god.
Oh, that must have been my fault.
That's a fair score, to be fair, I think.
You think?
Yeah. I think Secret Wars was a better book than this. But Rise of the Midnight Suns, I was disappointed with that, so I think it's a fair score in the middle of those two.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Shane?
Yeah, like I said, I remember this fondly.
Shane, you look like you've just like the soul has left your body. Like we've just destroyed your childhood.
No. I did that when I started reading it. Yeah, it's my fault. But that cover behind you is still one of my all-time favorite covers.
Oh, this is great.
The cover 21 is gorgeous.
The artwork in this is great, man. If you like 90s art or you want to get into 90s art, this is great.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this at all. It is spot on. All right then, folks. That is that's us wrapped up there with episode 20. What episode are we on? Remind me. 27. With Spider-Woman from 1993. There we go. That is what we thought. So now we've got to get to choosing what we're reading next week, and it's over to everybody else. As usual, if you've watched along before, you get one recommendation per person, and keep it a sensible length if you can. Trade paperback or if the issues run, try not to go over like 14, 15 if you can.
Definitely do not go over 14.
So Shane always moans every time we do this.
We have a week, people. We have a week.
We do only have a week. All right, so drop your recommendation in there. You only get one. We will take your first one. Scott's going to put it on the spinning wheel. Once we got them all in, we will spin it round and we'll see who wins. Somebody gets some goodies, and you can come and join us next week.
We are putting in Comic Bound suggestion, aren't we?
Yes, Comic Bound couldn't be with us tonight because, as I mentioned at the start of this episode, he's got a birthday, so he's celebrating. But he did ask us if we could include his 6-gun Gorilla from Boom Studio suggestion. Seeing as it's his birthday, we said yes because we're nice guys. Well, some of us are. I don't know about some of these lot.
I mean, I didn't want to. These three.
All right, let's have a look at the suggestions. I'll read them off to you, Scott, as we go down the list. We've got Tottenham Gaming saying Superman, Batman, Public Enemy. We have Tom from This One's a Movie saying Buffy the Vampire Slayer Volume 1, The Long Way Home. We have Amy, surprise, surprise, it's Saga Volume 2. TB Collects is suggesting Fear Agent. We have Off My Shelves, Hellboy, Seed of Destruction, good call. Firehawk is suggesting The Killing Joke. Ooh, great one. We've got World Comic Reviews, Spider-Man Life Story. Got a side story coming out soon in a hardback. I think I've read that one already. That's the one where it's in chronological order, isn't it? Like
through the decades.
Yeah, I have read that one. John Block Comics, Craven's Last Hunt. Ooh, nice. We got Caroline here saying Violent Cases by Neil Gaiman.
Ooh, I like him.
Yeah, me. Liam Cartwright, he's sticking with Fallout New Vegas, all roads. And I think we have my friend Carl here. He's saying Monstrous Volume 1. I've always wanted to get around to that, you know.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen the covers. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, the art looks phenomenal.
Won a lot of awards, isn't it?
And Off My Shelves, he's saying I love Six Gun Gorilla.
Ooh.
I've never heard of this, I'll be honest. Never heard of it.
Am I allowed to ask Shane now what his score would have been?
No one cares. I'm only joking. God's sake.
Well, from memory, because I put it on the list, I was thinking it was going to be an 8. I was like, yeah, this is a great Spider-Woman story. I love Julia Carpenter. She's awesome. And then I read it and I was like, oh, whoops.
I've made a mistake. Is that what
I
you
was like, oh my God, the guys are going to hate me. They're going to be like, what the hell have you made us read?
I don't hate you, mate. I enjoyed it. I'll be honest. Was it the best book I ever read, or one of the best books that we've put forward on it? No, but did I have fun? Yeah, I did.
Can I ask? Can you? I mean, in case anyone doesn't want to hear spoilers, I mean, Julia Carpenter is no longer Spider-Woman. So, in today's world, is she alive? you know what happened
she's
to her?
Madam Web now.
Oh, okay. So she's still a superhero of some sort. Is this right?
Which that's a crazy hot book at the moment, isn't it? That first appearance of Madam Web. That's like a super hot book right now as well to buy. And Shane, in response to your 8, Tommy's saying, ha, an 8.
We're good to go, Dean. I think we're good to go.
You got the more, Scott? Do you want to double check or are you okay?
I think I'm all right. Has Beth suggested one? I thought she would have suggested one. She hasn't.
I haven't seen anything.
Right, I've
The
got
Walking Dead.
Comic Bound, Tottenham Gaming, This Month of Movies, Amy, TB Collects, Off My Shelves, Firehawk, World Comics Reviews, Joblot, Caroline, Liam, and Carl. Yep, I've got him.
Awesome. And I'll just say, Firehawk captures, I think, the essence of why we do all of this. And he's just said there, best part is we are reading comics, and that is it. It's just sharing that experience of having fun with comics. Spot on, Firehawk. All right, Scott, you've got your screen here. I can see hiding in the background here. All right, let's see what we're reading next week then, buddy.
Here we go.
Or do we all have a favourite that we're hoping it lands on?
Saga.
I'm actually. It's Carl. Carl has won with Monstrous Volume 1. Nice.
Well done.
So, Carl, you get this mystery box of comics, mate, for you. And this was given to us by Joblot Comics UK. So go and check those guys out as well. I will drop the links in there at the end of this video for those guys. And they've got a YouTube channel and they will show you what's in the mystery boxes and stuff as well. You can kind of have a peek in there. But Carl, that's on its way to you, mate, and we'll be reading Monstrous Volume 1 next week. And if you want to come and join us on the show, mate, either on camera or on audio, you are more than welcome to join us next week. So if you can, drop me your address on Instagram or Facebook or any of the medias, or not, just send a pigeon. That'll do. Just let me know your address, mate, and we'll get it out to you. And let me know if you want to join us. There we go, folks. That is what we're reading next week. Are we happy?
Oh, yeah. This book has been on my list for a long time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Liam says, so close.
He was so close. I thought it was going to land on him.
And TB agrees with you, Scott. He says, been on my list for a
Yeah.
long time. Yeah.
Taylor has a lot of lists of books, though.
Yeah, he does. He does. Well, I think, don't we all? I think, and mine just seems to keep growing more and more and more these days as well, man. Okay, so do we want to go around and tell everyone what we've got going on this week, and we'll end that, and I will drop some links for everybody. Let's go that way. The money.
It's very easy. I have nothing. I have nothing planned this week. I have nothing going out. I took a few days off to enjoy Easter and eat lots of chocolate.
Nice.
So I will record something, but it probably won't be this week, but maybe next.
Come on, pull your finger out.
I'm very lazy. Very lazy.
Shane, how about yourself? What's going on Dawn of Comics?
The quiz is still live with the viewer competition, so you've got till next Friday to enter the viewer competition. So if you go over, watch the quiz, see the viewer competition, enter it, and then you'll be put into a draw to win some prizes. So
do you want to remind people what they have to do for the competition?
You just have to figure out what the Hulk word smash is from the 2 characters that appear up on the screen, and then you have to send me a message on Instagram with the correct answer, and I will put you in the draw. Already got some answers, some correct answers, so
you could be a winner, folks. In fact, what I'm going to do, Shane, is I'm going to drop that link to that video right there in the chat there for you.
Thank you very much.
There you go. And it says off the shelves, he's saying, you've ruined Adam's birthday. No 6-gun gorilla. Sorry, Adam. I was rooting for you, mate. I really was. Scott, what's going on over on Scott's shelf?
Yesterday, I posted an unboxing of the Job Lot Comics box, the one that you're giving away to Carl here. I liked it. I went ahead and valued the whole box. So I bought it for £13 and I valued it to see how much it was in total. And it was very good to give that a good look. Comic Airwaves, we've got a giveaway that's been activated. That was activated a few days ago because we hit 40 likes. So if you want to have a chance at winning some goodies, go over to my Instagram and you'll see the giveaway post there and just enter that way. Just follow the rules in the post. Producer Liam, Welsh Liam from Comic Airwaves is reaching out to everyone as well at the moment for the Scott versus Phil tasks. So if anyone does have a cool idea for how me and Phil can go head to head in a fun way, either pre-recorded or live, then do give him a message at the Funky Gibbons on Instagram, or just contact me and Phil and we'll point you to Liam.
Or send a pigeon.
And me and Philip will be appearing on Team Nerd Herd this Saturday at 6 p.m. For their mail call show. So we're looking forward to that as well.
I forgot.
What time is it? Do you know what time that is?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Our time. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, folks. There we go. That's what's going on everyone's channels. I will just quickly drop some links for people I think you might like or you might want to check out. Some new people, some new things. First off is Kevin Taylor, relatively recent YouTube. He's been putting some videos up with some CGCs. He's got a video that says top 50 CGC books in his collection. So go check him out.
Top 50? How many does he have?
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't got a clue. And also, seeing as are we all enjoying Invincible lately? Yeah. Well, there's a guy who has a channel called Invincible Central, and it is literally just Invincible content, comic books. He's looking at TV shows, collected volumes, and all of that stuff as well. So that was a pretty cool channel. I stumbled across that one after watching the show. And as I mentioned, folks, the people that gave us the mystery box to give away to you guys during this episode, Job Lot Comics. Go and check them out. They've got videos on their YouTube channel. You will see there that they're pretty kind of good. They'll show you what kind of things go into the boxes. Or go check out Scott's video as well. He went through it. Scott, you want to give him a bit of details about the box, what.
Yeah,
you
so
found, price and
15
stuff.
Yeah, 15 comics of a mix between Marvel and DC. All the ones I got were like modern books. I got a few issue ones, a few current issues, and there is it costs $12.99, and there is a chance to win. Well, not win, but the chance of having a bonus book of a Silver or Bronze Age key book, I think it was, or a tremendous variant. That's what they said on their website.
A tremendous variant, and they do have a website as well, don't they?
We do, yeah.
And that's Joblock. I want to make sure I get it right. It's joblockcomics.co.uk. Is that the one?
Yeah. Spot on.
Okay.
I've also got a box on its way, so I will do an unboxing. That'll be my next video. I'll do an unboxing of Joblock Comics mystery box. Thanks.
Yeah.
Shane, what about you? Do you have anything coming up?
I've already answered that.
All right. I just in the comments where Tom's like, "Have you forgotten Shane?"
Don't ever listen to anything Tom ever
I was
says.
just about to reply to Tom to let him know. He's like screaming at Dean. I'm like, no, he didn't.
Try and make out I'm a poor host here, you know. Tom, I'm having that blue spanner back, mate. That's it now. I think that's it then, folks. I think that wraps us up for episode 27, Spider-Woman. Yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
Well then, join us next week for episode 28, where we'll be reading Monstrous from volume 1. And hopefully, Carl will come and join us as well. We get to hang out as well.
An Eisner Award-winning book.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, la-dee-da. Get your waves out.